Feeha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Ariba?
I'm great. It's so great that you're here with us. And how have you been?
I mean, right now I've been very, very nostalgic.
Yeah.
And it's great to be here in FPS. This is our junior school and talking to you.
It's great talking to you too. So, you've just mentioned about FPS in your journey. Can you tell us about it? How did it start? What
Oh
was
my
it
God.
like?
Oh my
Because
God.
it's like full circle that you're back here. So, if you can just, quickly take us through it.
I mean, it's been what? I left this campus when I was 12 years old, so I'm 40. That's 28 years ago. And I walked in, and I can't tell you, it's cliched as it sounds, like I even told you before. I understand when they say that you walk down memory lane and it just flashes back, and I was just walking in, totally alien to the changes, but I don't know why I had flashbacks of people running, scrapbooks. I remember we used to open our scrapbooks in this hallway. I mean, if you ask me, this question just has so much weight.
Yeah, true.
Like I could talk about the political scene in Ukraine and Russia and it'd be easy.
Yeah.
But talking about childhood in just one
Yeah.
question, it's too hard. But
Too many layers.
too many layers. Talking, I just had a flashback of my grade 1 teacher, Mrs. Nusrat Khalid. I don't know if I hope you're listening. And things that you learn in school, in your formative years, you just quote them now.
Yeah.
Like I quote them so much. And things like you can't imagine, like concentration and making my Mrs. Fawzia Tapal, if you're listening, when she would walk into a class, we would just be in awe of her grace.
Yeah.
And the teachers that I would always quote and feel, and even in my own subconscious, what grace would look like. You look at them and it helps you so much now.
Yeah.
So much. And it's not about just being resilient. It just teaches you that these were women who, outside of your home, were teaching you and building you. Of course, there are other teachers that were there, who were more strict or whatever, and they had a other impression or other lasting effect on you. But I was lucky and fortunate enough that, I could only remember the good stuff. And alhamdulillah, I can say very fortunate that 80% was amazing. And 20% is
That
always you're
always
growing,
is, of course.
growing and teething
Teenage years also. So like a lot of factors.
Your own, but couldn't be more grateful to Foundation.
Oh, that's amazing how
Yeah.
you're so passionately talking about
Yeah.
it, right? Because it really tells us how strongly you feel about being here in all those
Yeah.
years. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And testament to what Foundation holds. Like it holds a lot of integrity.
Yeah.
Especially the principles, like Mrs. Sabia Mohammed I was talking to you about. I mean, I feel a lot of love for her.
Yeah.
Mrs.
And it
Minhas.
shows. Just when you talk about her, yeah.
Because the primary, I can't tell you what our primary education was. You would run and you would feel like you're in a school, but I don't know, I can't tell you, even our playground used to look like a jungle. Our classrooms used to be filled up, and it's just about giving, right?
True.
And then you understand what paying forward means. They gave, so we're doing it that.
So if you were, I mean, it's amazing how you're talking about it with a lot of emotions. What is that one, maybe, I don't know, I know it's one is really me being unfair and asking you, to really narrow it down, but what would be that one vision or one memory that, kind of sticks? Okay, everything else, but do this.
Oh, I can't, Ariva, it's too hard. Like I made my best friends here.
Yeah.
They're still my best friends.
Yeah.
Sana, Insia, Mahir and I. These are 4 people.
The girl
and
gang.
Rida Inam, Sidra, I'm missing Hareem. And there were so many other people who were part of our gang and we've lost touch, but we still remember. Like Alina Aftakhar. And I can't tell you, there are too many. And if I'm missing anybody, I'm really, really sorry. But, Charmaine, of course. And whenever we talk about it, we always go back to school.
And that's how you look at them, right?
Yeah, our meeting place used to be here. So I can't say Foundation gave me my best friends. Foundation gave me an education where, I can't character building,
Yeah,
I would
true.
like to say.
True.
More than the textbook, character building is so important. And now that you look at the world that we live in, people who are shining have a lot of character, as opposed to what degrees you hold.
True.
So I feel that education I took with me, and I use it so much today. And of course, you know, but it was just a good marriage between the home you were coming from and to the home you were going to. So Mrs. Minhas was very, very, very. She emphasized a lot on the arts, and I think a lot of foundation people who came out really went there. Like you just named Salman Javed. Like look what he's doing. What I mean, me and there's so many people like me, Fatma, the photographer. Mahira. I feel that they really emphasize on the arts, which is so important and so nuanced in the life that we live today.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's also when you think about it like that, it's also very ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of schools might be doing that at that point in time. So if you can also tell me about, was it at a certain exhibition or some art class that you felt art is something I relate with?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was in nursery actually, and my art teacher, Mrs. Umaira, oh, what a stylish woman she was, and what a cool woman she was. So I don't remember, but I remember myself in that art room, and there were other kids around me that weren't part of my grade, but they looked older or younger, I don't know. But I do remember she just asked me to start doodling.
Yeah.
Didn't know for what it was. The next thing I remember, I remember my mom was in the delivery room. My father had taken me to the Arts Council. There was an award ceremony. My art was selected by the Japanese consulate, and I won a bronze.
That's huge.
First year, 1989, then second year, 1991, and they published it in their official calendar from Pakistan.
Wow.
So I always go back, and my mom still has that. These are little things, right? It just sticks to you. And you, like I said before we started this, there's so many things that you, at this age in your life, regardless if you are someone or not, anybody, any human, they can take away so much from their formative years.
Yeah, true.
How they are, when the going gets tough, how do you want to behave?
How do you deal with situations?
How do you deal with situations?
Of course.
And you just go back. Of course, you see a lot of people around you, and you can take a lot of influence and a lot of inspiration. But what I tend to do a lot, I go back to who I was, the innocent side and innocent part of your life, just to move forward and just to find some sort of like solution.
Balance.
Yeah.
To find your grounding, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. And that comes in the form of my friends.
Yeah.
That the school gave me. Yeah. And we're still, like, I'm very, 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 very blessed. Like, I can't thank Allah enough, the best gift that they've given me.
Yeah.
This place.
Your emotional support, basically.
Just Allah.
Yeah.
Like, for 35 years.
So beautifully, you're telling us your story about, how you won that competition. So this career choice that you took around, when did you know, okay, this is what I want to do? Or was it something so organic that it just fell into place? I'm meant to do this.
So my father was the first design house in Southeast Asia.
DJs, right?
DJs.
Of course.
So, I mean, when we were growing up, we would just see a lot of artists come in. Like, you had Indians coming in, like Sanjay Dutt and Shatrughan Sinha. And you had artists like MF Hussain coming in. And, TV actors like Badr Khalil and Marina Khan, Shanaz Sheikh, and all. So you just thought that they were just aunties and uncles walking in. My father says, and my mom says, that before we went to bed, my elder sister, she would get a book. My older brother would get dinky toys, and you would get a paper. And these are not things that they just instilled in us. We would just naturally just go to them. So I would apparently naturally just go to a plain paper with a marker or a crayon. And that would put us to sleep, all these three things. So my father saw that. And my father's like, she doodles. I think she's into arts. So they just kind of like swayed me into it. And of course, being my father's daughter, it was just, I think my father wanted me but he would always call me the prodigal son, like, oh, let her do what she needs to do. I came back to what he believed in, which was fashion, and fashion in a very retail, equality-driven way. You know, make something that a rich and their driver wouldn't feel like there's any disparity.
Yeah.
And that's what my father always. I think I just naturally got drawn to it. So I wouldn't say that it was just built in, but I tried to defy it, but then eventually I did go.
So what were you doing while you were defying it?
See, my mom thought I'm going to go in the arts, like the camera and actress, because she's like, you would also dance and just act in front. My father had a
Video camera, yeah.
And he would, that was his favorite pastime. To deal with the stresses of life, he would just tape us.
Yeah.
Just for himself, like for us to watch. Again.
That's beautiful.
Oh, beautiful gifts.
Like and those memories.
Yeah, and you could, you know, whenever we would put a cartoon cassette on, we'd see like it would just get like interrupted by one of my father's video. Like he just would find any tape to just
and tape over them.
And we're like, oh God, teacher did this again. So we would just rewind or forward it till our cartoon came back. But I mean, gifts, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was I just wanted to break away from the expectations that they had. I wanted to go into business.
Which you eventually did.
Which I eventually did.
Yeah?
Yes. But I feel like sometimes it's, and a lot of people would say, oh, you're very lucky that you had your father's business to do that. I got a lot of those when I was doing my first fashion show. And I remember I was very scared. I was the only girl, only designer to be showing cotton in a sea of chiffons and pieces work.
Yeah.
And very drama-oriented.
Yeah.
My clothes are very simple, cotton-driven, but cut-oriented. And I remember there were big wig designers around me saying, she's born with a silver spoon. It's okay. What is she going to do? I did that fashion show. I had a standing ovation.
Amazing.
The next, and at that time, we didn't have digital like Instagram. We had newspapers. So the style section, front page, it wrote Feeha Jamshed of TJ's takes over. It didn't come with an inheritance. My father taught me education in his factory. I used to be my father's third master's assistant. I wasn't allowed to walk into his room, knock like every other employee. Actually worse. Not worse, I wouldn't say worse, but more like in a way that, no, he also comes before you. I learned a lot there. Again, I'm more practical driven, right? Practicality, more like physical.
Hands-on.
Hands-on.
Yeah, of course.
So I learn more, I retain more.
Yeah.
So I think that's what my father saw in me. But he still didn't want me to push me in a space. He would have loved it, but I came back and I understood what he was doing in fashion school, because everyone was quoting, though they were teaching my father was a case study in fashion school, and whenever I would walk in, oh, TJ sir ki beti aa gayi, and I'd be like, oh God, I can't even run away from here.
Yeah.
But they would have case studies on him because of his retail essence, right? And all I would ask everybody, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And they would always take some couture designer, bridal designer, whatever. That's when I understood. I said, I want to do what my father did.
Yeah.
He's making a change
Yeah.
in the industry. And only 10 years ago, you had these designers going into retail. I mean, this is exactly what my father had envisioned Pakistan.
What a vision.
Yeah.
What a vision.
From 1970 to 2010, it took Pakistan 40 years to get what
and you carried it forward, right? That's what you...
So, I mean, I hope so. It's nothing compared to what he's done.
But successfully, like what we've seen now is there's also been a kind of a change in brand imagery when it comes to TJs, right?
Yeah.
So was it a conscious choice? I'm sure it was. How did you think of that? A little bit about your journey being at your design house. What was it like?
So I didn't know how to explain this before. I don't believe in changing brand identity.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. And it's only when Nike, that movie of Nike came out, and they spoke about how Nike started selling an emotion behind the brand.
Yeah.
And that is something that my father was doing 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And understood it only after, again, I went to fashion school, right? And people are like, no, we would want to do that. And I would be like, but what's the emotion behind
Yeah.
it? I understood it there. When I came back, the reason why brands stick is because they didn't change their brand philosophy or identity. They
yeah.
just kind of evolved it. So I, again, believe in emotion behind a brand, because you sell emotions, you
Yeah.
don't sell a product.
True.
And when you're locked in, anything you're selling is going to be, you're locked in.
Yeah.
Right? But we also believe in selling very quality driven clothes, not just like, and we don't believe in fast fashion also, like the retail has become.
Yeah.
We believe in seasonal, quality driven.
Sustainable.
Sustainable.
Yeah.
I get people, they said, you know, that my father still has a TJ's shalwar kameez. He's handed down
My uncle
to
still
us.
has it.
There you go.
And he's been speaking,
Oh,
oh my
that's
God,
amazing.
yes. And
Because
he
of
has
the
like a whole
quality.
wardrobe full of it.
Yeah, and it's because of
Yeah.
the quality. You don't get that a lot.
Yeah,
here.
true.
And that's what my father, I think, has given me.
Yeah.
That if you do it with the best of intentions.
Yeah.
Because it'll come through. It will go through. It might be hard, but you will persevere. You'll get to the finishing line.
I completely agree with what you said. And also, like, then how did you think this change came about? Like, was it you started minimally, like a few things, a few changes, or was it so, it's something, or was it drastic?
No, it was quite I thought that, now I come back and I'm like, yeah, I'm teacher's daughter, so it's going to be easy. No. I'd rather go back to school where I was known as, teacher, sir's daughters here. His school is actually the toughest school you would go to, but so rewarding.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like, imagine, he trained my eyes. Like, for example, I don't need a measuring tape when I'm measuring someone. Or not someone, but if I know something's wrong with something, I'll know.
The proportions.
The proportions. How? So he'd started with, okay, so now you're back. Now he got his dream.
Yeah.
She's come back.
Yeah.
She won't have it that easy. So now you're here. You're going to start making me samples. That one sample took me 50 samples.
To figure it
Till
out.
he said, yeah, it's okay. And only when this happened years after, when this Parisian, she used to work for Net-a-Porter in very trade shows from France to Pakistan. She chose 8 designers. And there's a Dawn clip. There's a quote that year my sister passed away.
Okay.
So it was literally like we were leaving 2 months after. And I was supposed to be part of those 8 designers, and I pulled out. And I called her. She was somewhere in Europe, and her name's Alexandra Senas. And I said, Alexandra, I wouldn't be able to make it.
Yeah.
And very sweet of her, she wrote in that clip, she quoted saying that out of 8 designers, Feeha has the most global reach. Because though she has a Western side, but her cuts are very desi.
Yeah.
That just kind of marriages between, when my father read that, that's when he said, when I got a Lux Style Award, when I got a Pakistani Style Award, he didn't care. He said, this is my reward. When somebody can see something in you, my daughter, or whatever.
Yeah.
Some can be biased. This person wasn't biased. That's when it settled in that I'm in it. I can do this. It's not like he wasn't very proud of me. He always was. He just was very like, he didn't want me to have a big head.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very happy about that because I was 21?
Yeah.
And I was
it can go to your head.
shows.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm human.
Yeah.
And I think because of him grounding me all those years, formative years of me joining it. So I would never listen to people around me because and though a lot of people would just now argue that, if she had been given no, but he was just saying, I think you can do better.
Yeah.
He wanted me to reach my potential.
Yeah, I was just pushing you. Yeah.
And it was a very loving push. He wasn't hard on me.
Yeah.
My father and I shared the most. We just understand each other because I knew what that push was.
Yeah.
What that push meant to him, because it was a legacy that he did on his own.
Yeah.
From scratch. And I think one needs to be very, particular about who this should go to.
That's no fantastic. So coming back to you joined TJ's, how was that like? You're making these changes a little bit. You're telling us more about how it was a little drastic. Maybe you were suggesting something, and your father was like, "Okay, no." Was it any of that? Anything? Any fun story where you were like trying to push in an idea?
Yeah.
And maybe he's like, "No, sorry, sit
Oh,
down."
that happened all the time.
Yeah.
Happen all the time. So jumpsuit. There's a beautiful story of the jumpsuit. So I did this jumpsuit. I decided to put it in the store.
Yeah.
He was against it. He's like, no one's gonna buy it here. I mean, it's a jumpsuit for God's sake. And I kind of took that, and again, I wouldn't be like, yes, sir, you're right. No, I said, he wanted me to believe in that product so badly that even his voice wouldn't get into it.
Yeah.
So that pushed me to put that janitor jumpsuit, we call it the janitor jumpsuit of our team, right in front on our dummy for display on the mannequin.
Yeah.
My idea was someone crossing our store once, twice, the third time, seeing that. Third time they'll come inside, inquire about it.
Yeah.
Fourth time they'll come inside to try it. Fifth time they're buying it.
Yeah.
So I only designed 11 pieces. It went down to, I started making 1,000 pieces per season. And then 2,000. And it went from extra small to XXL.
Quite a range, this jumpsuit.
That was just medium at that time, because I was just like,
maybe
it's a risk.
Yeah.
And he was so proud of me because he said, this is exactly what I wanted you to do. Because tomorrow, someone may just tell you that it's not going to work. You push your idea so hard, you need to believe in your product before anyone else does. So that is something I learned.
And I think these life lessons, you can actually just learn them on the job. I think that's the best way when you're actually experiencing it. So you've had a fantastic run. I mean, it's great, I'm sure, to have a mentor while you're working.
It's such a blessing.
So anything, what's next? What's anything in store? What should we be, looking out for? What's happening?
I do a lot of creative projects,
Okay.
and they need to be worth my while. So, though of course Mahira is my best friend, and she has a vision of wanting to do something, but getting the right people on the team to give you that character build, right?
True.
So Hamsafar I did, for the clothes I did. And it became like a sensation.
Of course.
And everything.
Oh God, those beautiful dresses.
Yeah, and,
oh my God.
and at that time, Pakistan again wasn't ready for peshwazes. because they're like, who wears that at home?
But then how did you think of it? Like, ye hona chahiye look.
So I sat with the director, producer actually, Momina, is the producer of Hum.
Yeah.
And now she's like, but it started off that she said, this girl, Khirid, she's a very sufficient but knowing, very self-aware person, and she doesn't change just because her class changed.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, where did she come from? It's Hyderabad. Okay. So it was also her vision intact, and she's like, so what do? I said, we just change fabric.
Yeah.
So from cotton, we just go into chiffon.
Yeah.
She doesn't wear like heavy embroidered stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. Also, like she starts, going towards like, okay, I have become slightly richer than what I was. I'll go from the chiffon pieces, but it'll still be my style, very simple.
Silhouette won't change.
Yeah, exactly. And because wardrobe plays such a big part in character, because the audience must also see that, okay, she didn't go really heavy with the clothes, or it didn't go to her head that she's made so much money because she's married into a rich family. She always puts herself, her identity first than anything else. So that's how Khirid came about. And then, of course, I did Sadke Tumhare, again, another TV project with Mahira. I did 2-3 other films, but we lent like her bowl. I lent my janitor jumpsuit for that concert scene with Akif. And then Human Jahan, again, Asim had come for a wardrobe. So I leave little character style notes. Because, like, for example, Sadke Tumhare, she will always have something in her ear that makes her, like, it's not like she always goes and wears something. Human Jahan, she'll always wear churis.
Yeah.
Or like a ring.
Yeah.
But the most fun I had was this one, the latest one. Her character arc and the shades that this character gets, it's like so moody. So you had to go, the color palette just changed according to the moods that she was in.
But do you
so
think
interesting.
being a designer, is this more, because I'm sure when character changes happen, there's a lot of thought with every element that you're thinking about. Do you think this is a much tougher space to be in, or is it harder to understand where this character is at this point in time and make those changes?
No, not at all. If you have a great director and you're like, so I believe in collaborations. I'm not a yes sir person.
Yeah.
If you're coming to me with, okay, Feeha is gonna think.
Yeah.
I demand scripts.
Yeah.
There've been directors who've been very kind to give me scripts. So I come with my vision. She comes with hers. We make it a marriage between them. I had Mahira come in between, let's say my creative. Of course, I sit with her. I always ask her. I tell her, we share ideas.
But it's your process then.
It has to be,
true.
because you have to be the character before the actor becomes the character.
True.
Because I have to also kind of make sense to me. Why would she go for this?
Why is she wearing churis? Or why is she wearing whatever? Yeah.
There needs to be some resonance in the character of something. And it's important that I also create a backstory for the character. Abroad, here, or our neighboring country, India, they really put a lot of soul in wardrobe. There's a lot of because at the end of the day, the character can do, an actor can do so much.
True.
It needs like a creative team to bring
and make it believable. That's why the audiences do resonate with whoever that character is.
Yeah.
So a tough question. Of course, this character building and this amazing work that you're doing, do you think you enjoy that more or fast fashion? I mean retail.
I enjoy all three.
There has to be a preference, right?
Because I'll tell you, there's creative. That's why I said I'm slightly more different. I like to be creative in all three.
Okay.
And that's what my dad told me, that you can make affordable clothes while they're being creative. A lot of designers can't understand, but so much stitching. Like, for example, like this, there's a lot of stitching. And something like this, another designer would charge a lot.
Yeah.
So we know how to get the average in with the affordability, but something that that, I don't need to pay so much or damage my pocket for that.
True.
So bridals too. Bridals tends to be very on the high end side, and we do because everything's pure. But again, it's very creative. I restarted my bridals last year. And I had 4 beautiful, beautiful brides come to me, and they trusted me totally. And we're very, very honest about how much this would go, and if you want to increase this.
And involved in the designs, right? Because that's not what's happening, right? Especially with bridals, it's become like a factory. Okay, next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I have to credit my character building for dramas and movies for my bride.
Yeah.
Because when I did this Johar Sang Sangeetlo, I said, Feeha, you can do bridals again. Because again, you're making it for a character right in front of you. So you're hearing their story, you're making a very bespoke outfit for them. So I have to credit the drama. So I like to be creative in all 3 spheres.
I think which is what is kind of fueling your energy too, because you're learning from different experiences and like you said, putting it onto whatever as and when needed. So brilliant. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So that was some really heartfelt conversation that we had, Feeha. What we're going to do next is jump into a round of myth or fact, where if you what I'm saying with you agree with it, you tell me it's a fact, and if it's not, you bust that myth for us.
Okay, amazing.
So I'll just whip out my paper, very innocent looking paper, and we'll start.
I need to.
Yeah, I'll just give this to you.
Thank you.
Okay, first.
This is fun.
Yeah. First, Pakistani fashion is more about the name value than the actual quality. Yeah. So do you think do you think that's like standard across, or do you think maybe it's improving or something like that?
They are like, I could just kind of like pick few, but it depends on the retail. If you're talking about retail, then yes, that's a total fact. Bridal too.
I was just coming to that.
Yeah. I think people are now getting fast fashion into bridal wear, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But across the board, I think everyone is just pushing the quality tagline back because it's not worth their time or their money, and it is expensive. I'm not, again, selling an emotion is more important than selling something and 2 weeks later we have something else.
So be it retail or bespoke, everything.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
For
Which
sure.
is why, you know, when you even mentioned your uncle still has it.
Yeah.
May Allah give him a long life, and I hope he's good.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. And it's the quality that again, probably my dad offered, that he still has it.
True, that's so true. And that's something obviously you will always carry.
Absolutely.
So that's, like
I would
another
leave
life.
fashion. I would. I would leave it if I can't deliver that.
True.
So there was in the middle I did, because I couldn't, I was sick. But that's the fact that everyone knows that Feeha is very, very quality driven. So I would leave fashion if I can't give you quality.
Indeed, I think that's for a lot of people to hear about this. Studying fashion abroad gives designers more credibility than studying locally. Yeah.
Total myth. Mythbuster. I went to school. I dropped out of fashion school too, PIFD. Loved that school. But it gives you an advantage for pattern making and stuff. But again, everything is learned on the job. Regardless, it doesn't matter whether you do it from abroad or here, or actually, again, even if you don't or do, actual education is on the job. So it's a big mess.
So it wouldn't matter.
No.
Great.
I mean, it gives you an advantage, but it wouldn't matter in the longer run.
Yeah, of course. Designers prefer working with models over actresses because they carry clothes better.
Designers working with models over actresses?
Because they prefer the clothes on them. Or do you think it's a preference?
I mean, when you put it on an actor, it gets a lot of hits. It gets you get shared more. Models, of course, carry because they're models for a reason. I want to stay neutral on that only because if I give something for Myra to wear on a red carpet, she'll come with her style as opposed to, or Myra or anybody, Sanam Said or Sajjal or anybody, any actress. It just gets hits or shared in
better reach, basically.
Better reach.
Yeah.
But you know what? Again, I'm coming from two different worlds, right? I'm coming from a world that wasn't digital, so it didn't matter. You are making a model wear it. She knows how to move the garment. But when you make an actress wear it, it makes it more real.
What do you prefer? Story you want to tell?
Absolutely.
Basically.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Last one, and very interesting. Social media has made it easier to enter the fashion industry, but harder to stand out. Myth or a fact? So you can enter, but for you to stand out, it's made it harder because everyone's on it.
Fact. Because it's not about people are clones of each other. There are clones of each other, but there's so much traffic.
Yeah.
So sifting through traffic is, again, that's the world we live in. So I can't even complain about the world we live in. So try doing something different that no one else is doing. You will get hurt, regardless of which world you're entering.
Yeah.
I was entering in a world where there were big wigs. I was the youngest. Me and Rizwan were the youngest. He's also from FPS, Rizwanullah. And we were doing something different. So that world was like this world of the digital world. Everyone was just, there were voices. So we tried to do something different. We got noticed. And again, this world is the same. I would say that if you do something different, you'll get noticed regardless of the traffic. But yes, there's just too much.
The idea is you have the plethora or that big sea of eyeballs waiting for you to throw something there. And if it holds merit and if it works, then you've hit an ocean.
Like where everyone's becoming a target for bullying and trolling, which is also sad. That's why a lot of people who want to come in do not come in, or who want to like make a mark don't.
Yeah.
So because everyone's just there to judge.
It's a double-edged sword, basically.
So I would be like
in the middle.
In the middle, because it's a very tough world today. Like I don't know how I would have survived in my 20s in this world.
Oh, I completely agree with that. if you had to say something to students out there who are still, figuring it out, trying to understand what should they do in life, what career path, what would you say to them? It could be, and not just career, like we discussed, of course, character building, all of that, taking from your experience here, obviously in the fashion world.
I would only tell, I mean, what I would tell them would be that it is so important to do things that you love. And even if you don't have it figured it out at the age of 25, 30, it doesn't matter. Let's say you're studying to get a degree and you got that degree and you've done your master's and your PhD and you just kind of have a moment with yourself and said, what did I do? I wasn't in it. It's okay, you can start again. Because at the end of the day, life is about starting again each time. Everything. Like I went through a sabbatical. The people had written me off and then I came back. And it's important because everything, every machinery has a muscle memory. And even this machinery, this industry had a muscle memory for me. All I had to do was to work towards it. I had to kind of sit back and say, where do I feel like going?
Yeah.
So it's not important where you want to end up. It's not important what the outcome is. It's what's important. Just make it good for yourself. Make your process good. And I would always tell people to just try to do and try to choose a career or anything that they would love. And make it something that they know that they can even go to work for 2 hours and they had a good day. They would go for 12 hours and they're still energized. It's what you do. You should love what you do. So yeah, just be passionate about that. And if it's not what you love, don't do it.
And it's never too late to pivot. Amazing. Oh my God, what a beautiful thought. No, I think it's very good to be reminded because the thing is,
absolutely.
we all, of course, know about it, but then we're
simple.
so busy in our lives and we're so cluttered by what the society expects at a certain age that you need to meet.
Absolutely.
It's just that you need that push every time that you actually switch on to social media, for example. And if somebody out there who's, of course, doing great in their industry and they tell you, it just kind of checks the boxes. Okay. If somebody's saying it, then it should be true.
You're doing something fantastic here.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet.
Cheers.
This has been so
Thank you for having
refreshing.
me. Oh, thank you.
Because like I said, I was just discussing this with you. It's when people like you who hold a certain position in an industry say it out loud for everybody else to kind of just, things that they've been feeling for them to make sense of that. So thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you for having me. If it weren't for you guys, we won't be here.
And thank you for being honest.
Oh, thank you.
It was a very honest conversation that we've had. At the end, we're doing something that we call Leave Your Mark, where you just sign a mug for us so that we always have you with us, even when you're not.
Lovely. I'd love that. Thank
So,
you.
There you go. And I'll just give you a pen. If you could just sign it for us.
And write a message?
Yeah, sure.
Here you go.
Thank you so much for taking up the time, being here, and just being you, being honest. And
I think you just helped me being me, because it's also important how you are reflective of the person in front of you.
I'm so glad you were here.
And I love the fact that these guys are doing this and you're heading this. This is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.